Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 4 of the Player to Player podcast. I'm Kirk,
I'm Luke.
and today we're going to focus on some mental health. Luke, how you doing?
I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You look rather disturbed by that question. I'm just want to make sure you're good before we get started.
This isn't on the agenda.
No, I know, but
Okay.
gotta keep it flexible, keep it moving,
Yeah,
keep you guessing.
I'm good.
Good. Well, in that case, let's just get right into the news. Luke, what do you have for us?
First up, we're supposedly getting an Ubisoft showcase. It was supposed to be right before E3 this summer. It sounds like it might be after E3, but
okay.
they're gonna be announcing 20 games.
Oh, so this is instead of their E3 presentation.
Right, exactly. Which 20 games? That's significant. That's a solid
Yeah.
showcase. And at that, we don't know much, but we are supposed to be getting a Prince of Persia announcement,
Okay.
which is going to be a 2.5D Ori inspired game.
2.5. Okay. Well, Ori's super 2D, but you're saying it would be like Metroid Dread almost, or
I don't know. So that's just what they said. When I hear 2.5D, I think of games like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze or
Sure.
Yoshi's Crafted World. But the Ori inspired is really interesting to me. Is that inspired in art style and gameplay? And
I imagine gameplay. I imagine they're saying it would be like a Metroidvania type game. But if they're saying Ori specifically instead of saying Metroidvania, it might also be referring to the art style. That would be really cool.
Yeah, super interesting.
But what happened to the remake of Prince of Persia? What's going on with that?
I have no clue.
They didn't mention anything?
No, I have no idea. That's the only thing that I saw. And this is super. I don't want to say it's a leak, but it was an insider who reported this. So it's not necessarily a leak, but none of it's really confirmed yet.
Well,
or
it's a
anything
leak
like that.
in the sense that it's a leak that maybe is not true.
Possibly, yeah, because we haven't had this game confirmed yet.
Right.
So that's true.
That would be cool. Especially if it's a new. I mean, that's a super simple way to do. Prince of Persia would be great, and I think of Shantae as far as like the side scrolling, and the time setting and the style. So Prince of Persia could fit really well into that. I just wonder what happened to the remake, but maybe they'll announce two Prince of Persia games. That would be interesting. What's next?
Next, so Jade Raymond's studio, her Haven Studios, was just purchased by Sony.
So Jade Raymond just left Google.
Yep.
Just left Stadia 6 months ago.
Something like that, yeah.
And she went and started her own studio. They already got purchased by Sony.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's crazy. So this comes from a Sony representative. They said that we were confident in their creative and technical expertise to deliver on such an ambitious project, and we're thrilled to invest in their journey developing a new original IP for PlayStation. Haven's first project will be a live service experience for PlayStation built upon a systematic and evolving world focused on delivering freedom, thrill, and playfulness.
Huh.
So, yeah, I don't know. Super interesting. New IP coming to Sony from Jade Raymond. That's awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah, that's super. Yeah, I mean, she's worked on. I mean, she developed the original Assassin's Creed, and the first couple of really good ones, and Watch Dogs as well. So when it comes to expertise, she's got that in spades. And I guess her team must also be really talented, and I assume that she had some of those people from Google with her, and they must have been working on something, because 6 months is really not enough time to have. I mean, they must have some kind of tech demo or something.
It was just enough to get Sony's attention. So
yeah, that's super cool. And again, like she's a big part of the industry and has been for a long time. So honestly, her having the studio is enough for PlayStation. But I just wonder if maybe they've been working on something, and Sony decided that they wanted it to be a Sony IP. That's cool. That's exciting.
This next one is super cool. Kirk, tell us about it.
So the Nintendo Switch Pro is here.
Only in software form.
And you can download it right now. It's called Nintendo has added folders to the Nintendo Switch. This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I saw this right before we started recording. Let me pull it up here. And I thought it was a joke. What did I say, Luke? Do you remember?
No.
I literally read the title. I said, Nintendo Switch now lets you organize your games in folders. Oh, that's a cap.
Oh yeah, and
There's
before
no way
you said
that's
that, I was
true.
like, so that's clickbait.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Look at this. Groups. Mario games. Look at
Wow.
that. You got Mario Kart 8, Mario Odyssey, and Paper Mario. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is from Kotaku. We stole some of their pictures here, but you can go through your library. So you go to more games at the end of the menu, and it brings up all the games you have on your Switch, ones you've played both physically and digitally. And it looks like you can select them here individually, put them into a group, and then you can just have folders now. You can have a Mario games folder on your home screen. Would you look at that? Groups.
That's so cool. That's amazing.
That's a next gen feature. This is one of those things. So they added Bluetooth to the Switch, I think last year, and we were all like, okay, so you can't just add Bluetooth via software update. So that means it's been able to do this the whole time. Again, with the folders, this should have been a thing since day one.
Yeah.
Why is this just now?
So at least we're getting it.
Yeah,
because
but why now?
There's some things that people are like, okay, well, this should have always been there, but the company never does anything about it. So
That's
it's
true.
at least nice that Nintendo is giving us these things.
Yeah, that's true.
Of course it should have been it should have just been on the Switch when it launched, but we have the feature now. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool that we're getting it, and maybe this means that there's hope for themes as well, because that was one of the things day one. I know when I got my Switch, I looked and saw that there was a section for themes, and then it was light or dark. Those are awesome. That's so exciting. But yeah, finally you got folders. It's a weird day. This is one of those announcements that I just never thought was gonna happen.
For sure.
I just thought it would be on the next Switch, but that's crazy. Speaking of things we never thought would happen,
The Witcher is getting a new game.
what? The Witcher 4.
Which will be in Unreal 5.
The Switcher.
So
That was a dumb joke. I apologize.
I'm a little skeptical
Why?
because this is CD Projekt Red,
Yeah,
and Cyberpunk was
up until
a nightmare.
Up until last year, they had a really good
Cyberpunk
reputation.
was a nightmare,
Yeah, it was.
and as far as I know, it still is.
I think it's gotten better.
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
everything that I've
But
heard.
from what I understand, it's still a buggy mess of a game.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I've never played any of the Witcher games, but I know there's a lot of diehard Witcher fans who just love the Witcher games.
yeah,
So I'm just a little worried for them,
Right.
But this is a chance for CD Projekt Red to nail this,
yeah. So The Witcher 3 had a lot of development issues in terms of crunch and extreme conditions for workers and nothing inherently. Well, I mean, I tend to think crunch is abusive, but a lot of people volunteer for that. So it's kind of up for debate in the industry whether or not that's a productive thing, even though statistically it is shown that it's not. But that was an issue on The Witcher 3, and then they said they sort of apologized a little bit and were like, this won't be an issue on Cyberpunk, and then it turned out that it was a huge issue on Cyberpunk, and
the game sucked.
it was terrible. So Cyberpunk, I think, is a special case, though, especially with a studio as talented as CD Projekt Red. These guys have had a great reputation for something like 10, 15 years. These guys are really good at what they do. I'm excited for a new Witcher 4. They've been updating. I think even this last year, The Witcher 3 was still getting updates as far as like stabilization patches and things for next gen. So they take really good care of the Witcher fans. And after the show, it's very popular. So I'm hoping that this is a good thing, but we don't have a date. We don't have details.
Yeah,
we don't know.
It's just been announced.
It's literally this image and the announcement. So, but that's pretty interesting. Ghostwire Tokyo Reviews are in, and they're kind of, well, I mean, like the article says, they're all over the map. So let's just look at some of these real quick. Let's see. Silicon Era gives it a 10 out of 10, and then right down to a 7 from Inverse, 7 from IGN. GameSpot gave it an 8. The Verge didn't give it a score. Push Square gave it a 6.
Ooh.
NME gave it a 3 out of 5.
So that's a 6.
Which, yeah. It's just kind of...
So, I mean, that's not all over the board. It's just averaging from a 6
and a
to
10?
a 6 to a 10.
That's a
well,
wild
sure, but I mean, everyone else is what, 6 to 7?
Well, sure, yeah.
So,
I mean, they come in from 6 to 10, but
it's just that 10 out of 10, the 10 out of 10 that kind of like skews that. But for the most part, it looks like it should be somewhere between a 6 and an 8.
yeah. I heard, so I had heard from Dreamcast guy and Nate Drake this weekend on the Spawncast. They mentioned they both really liked the game. So I'm interested. I was already gonna pick this up. Now I'm even more intrigued just to see what I think of it.
For sure.
It's weird to see. Games are usually within like several points of each other, like 8.5 to.
Oh, really?
So as from these big guys anyway. I mean, sometimes it is all over the place, but this seems like a pretty big spread of scores, and so I'm curious. I'm curious what I'll think of it. It's a weird game because if you've seen the footage of it, it's a first person. It's like, well, it's the style of a first person shooter, but it's all like magic and sorcery and stuff, and it looks very horror genre, but apparently it's not, because it's so fast paced and you're so powerful that you can kill all those really ugly things. They're not really that scary anymore.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be something that I'll probably talk about, probably not next week, but in the coming weeks we'll have some thoughts on that game.
For sure. I look forward to your second opinion review on it.
Thanks.
Which you'll now be making.
Yeah, you just kind of cornered me into it, didn't you? Thanks, Luke.
No problem.
What else do we got here? Let's see. Okay, so this is a bummer.
Yeah.
So, we mentioned it earlier, Ori and the Blind Forest. Great game, by the way. It's first-party Xbox game, and it's also available on Switch. And then Ori and the Will of the Wisp is the second one, and they're both phenomenal games. They're beautiful. The soundtrack is great. The gameplay is better. The combat is exquisite. They're very, very good games. But we found out recently that their studio sucks. It's a Moon Studio, and this is I'll just read this quote from one of the developers that we have. This just broke my heart. She said, we really created something special, and I know the only way I was able to reconcile it, and I was able to watch people on Twitch and watch other people get moved by it, and that was actually part of my healing process, because maybe my suffering was worth it because other people felt something. In the end, I mean, so many of us were burnt out. Which, dude, if that's the way that you feel at the end of any job,
for sure,
unless you're a firefighter.
Well, and so this quote, when you read this quote to me, it kind of made it sound like the issue was with crunch, but it was a lot more than that.
Yeah, it was way more than crunch. There are accusations of xenophobic. Well, it's not even an accusation. We have quotes here that I'm not going to read just because of the content that are terrible. Anti-Semitic stuff. There's some really sexist behavior in the company. Crunch is also part of it. Turnover is really high. New people recruited on promises of large bonuses, and then bailed soon after. This is from VentureBeat.com, by the way, if you want to go check out the article. But there's just a lot of stuff I don't want to address on the podcast just because of the content. But if you want to go read and see kind of the stuff that these people were subjected to, it's actually really terrible. And the fact that this happened under Microsoft's watch, to me, is unacceptable. Microsoft is known for the way that they treat their employees, and for having a really good culture and protecting people. So I need to hear from Phil about this. Like, this needs to be addressed from the top. Because this is just not okay. Like, I'm fine with them shutting down completely until this gets fixed. This needs to change. And I think Phil Spencer needs to be the one responsible for going in there and weeding these people out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just it's so exhausting to hear about this stuff just constantly.
I know.
I feel like
all
every
the
few
time.
months there's
All the
just
time.
another thing.
Well,
It's so
it's an
disappointing.
industry problem.
And initially, when you mentioned it, I was like, I don't even want to talk about that on the podcast. Like, let's keep our podcast positive. But no, like we have to talk about it. We're talking about
it
the
won't
industry,
change if we don't
and
talk
right,
about it.
exactly. And
Yeah.
like, sure, we're a small podcast or whatever, but like, even if the small podcasts are talking about this,
Yep.
like, if everyone is talking about this, it will cause change eventually.
Well, that's the thing, is it needs to get down to the level of the individual gamers and the people who are at home. Like, everybody needs to know that these problems plague the industry, because if they don't, it won't change. And
Right.
we need to be vocal about it. I'm not really for boycotts and things like that, because it's more complicated. And then you're hurting the people whose bonuses depend on how well the game does, and all kinds of things like that. You're hurting the individual developers at that point, and it's really not their fault, and they don't deserve to be punished by a boycott. It kind of makes it worse on them. So it's just so sad to see somebody in the industry that is supposed to be about people having a good time, people having fun, people escaping from all the things that we deal with at work, just going through those same things.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So yeah, that stinks, and make sure you make a big stink about it, and then people will stop acting like that, hopefully. That was one of the hopes too with the Activision Blizzard acquisition, is that Microsoft can do something
Right.
about the culture there. So yeah, I don't know if this is just something that didn't make it up high enough to make a stink, but now it definitely has, and now I'm gonna need an official response from Microsoft. So, especially because the Moon Studio response was not thrilling.
For sure.
Let's get into our main topic. We are talking about Game Pass games this week.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited for this. Just like last week, we're gonna get into like a top 10 list. These are my top 10 games on Game Pass. So to just give everyone a refresher of how it works, we'll have you start this week. We'll have you start
Okay.
with your number 10, and then you'll say your game. If it's higher on my list, I'll say higher, and then we won't talk about it until we get to it on my list. If it's not, then we'll just talk about it right then and there. So I'm really excited for this. I've got a bunch of honorable mentions too. It was actually pretty difficult for me to get down to just 10, and I kind of cheated a little. So we'll talk about that when we get
I have
there.
probably 40 games here. So the fact that I had to even get them to 10, this is not a real top 10 for me. I'd have to spend a lot more time looking through this. I really underestimated the games that are on Game Pass. This is an amazing catalog of games. So my top 10 are the ones that I think are more important, but my honorable mentions, really, I think these are all phenomenal games. So I'll try to say a little bit of something about each of them as we go through the list, but I'm going to start
With number 10.
With number 10. And that's Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I haven't played these games. They're on
So
my list.
If you love zombies as much as I know you do, you will love these games.
Yeah.
Because they're not round based or anything like that. They're very
Right.
linear. They're very traditional shooters. I mean, Doom was the first person shooter.
Right.
The first first person shooter. And the remake, well, it's not really even a remake in 2016. It's more of a reboot. I think even canonically it's a different character than
Oh, okay.
the original, which, I mean, the canon does. I know maybe some people be upset about this, but the canon doesn't matter in these games. The story is literally wake up, gun, zombies, or
Sure.
demons. They're demons. And so you're fighting all these big ugly demons, and what makes Doom different from other first person shooters is it's not about cover and aiming your shots and taking your time and being sneaky. You get rewarded for being very aggressive. You want to get up in their face. You want to do
Right.
melee kills. You want to, because then you get more health back
Mhm.
from melee kills and things like that. And it's just so satisfying once you get into a groove with
So
the music.
Daniel said
Wow, it's a
that
great game.
maybe it's 2016. Was there another Doom after that?
Yeah, Doom Eternal.
Doom Eternal. Daniel said that he thinks that's one of the best, like, it has some amazing like 3D platforming in it.
Oh
too.
yeah, yeah.
And
I think it's one of the best shooters ever
If I
made.
recall, he even said it's one of the best 3D platformers he's ever played.
Oh, that's weird.
But just because the 3D, he
Sure,
really enjoyed
yeah.
it, you know. So
Yeah, well, as far as first person platforming goes, it's excellent.
right, yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it's very good. So both of those games I highly recommend. Obviously, they're a little bit scary, but
Sure.
if you can get over that, they're
Yeah.
really really fun. They're
Cool.
very arcadey.
All right, I'm glad Doom made the list. So my number 10, I feel like this is gonna surprise you a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Crimson Skies, High Road to Revenge.
Oh, see, when you have a list of like 200-ish games, it's really easy to miss stuff. So
Oh, for sure.
that
So
would have made my honorable mention.
This
for
is
sure.
a original Xbox game
Yep.
that you and I played growing
yeah.
up. It's a it's a fighter pilot game, but it's older planes. It's like a dogfighting game.
Yeah.
would I would
Totally.
say would be the better description of it. But
Well, it's not all older planes, is it?
well, it's not like jets, right?
It's very fictional.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
They're-
Fictional.
It's like piratey.
yeah, it's like
1940s.
Sky Pirates kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of like blimps are a big thing in the game and stuff like that. But it's a very fun game. It controls really well, and the multiplayer is really fun too. Honestly, the multiplayer, in my opinion, is very similar to Star Fox 64.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I remember we played this with Dad too.
Crimson Skies.
Yep. Yeah, and it was
That was a little bit later.
it's
but-
a very fun like 4-player like on the same console dogfighting game.
yeah.
It's really
it's
enjoyable.
a great game.
And the story's interesting. I
Unlocking
think
planes
the
is super
controls holds up.
satisfying.
Unlocking planes is really fun.
The controls are okay. They take some getting used to.
Well, sure. I mean, you're learning a game,
Yeah.
but like I think it controls pretty well. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really fun game. I think it's totally worth giving it a shot. And I mean, it's on Game Pass.
Crimson Skies
So
is great.
you have
Totally.
Game Pass and you
Just hit the
just get
download
it.
button. Yep. 9 again, not in order of how good I think these games are, because these could all theoretically take the top 3 on different days depending on the content of the list. But Fallout 3, Fallout 4 and Fallout New Vegas. Oh my goodness, these games are amazing. Fallout 4 a little bit less so, but it's still packed with so much stuff to do, and it's crappy in a way that's kind of fun to be crappy.
I didn't know you played Fallout 4.
Oh, I played the hell out of Fallout 4.
Really?
Yes, I played.
So I
put like
knew
80
you played
hours into
3 and New Vegas. But
Yeah,
I
3.
didn't know you
So
played
3, I
4.
never even actually finished. I got
Oh.
really far into it, but I think that was
Aren't we
circumstances
getting New
led to
Vegas
it not
2?
happening. I don't think so. I haven't heard that.
You keep talking. I'm gonna see if I can
Okay.
find something on that.
But yeah, Fallout 3 is great. Your dad is Liam Neeson, so that's the best game ever. Fallout 4 is really good. As well. It's a little bit different, and they add some new mechanics that are pretty unnecessary, but they're fun to mess with anyways. And New Vegas is probably one of the best role-playing games I've ever played, up there with Coder.
Really?
Yeah, New Vegas is really, really good. It's made by Obsidian also. So Coder 2 is Obsidian. They make some really good games. The shooting mechanics in this game are not super up to par as far as nowadays, but
Sure.
that's only part of the game. And plus you have the VAT system, which sort of pauses the combat and lets you target a specific part of the body.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, between the role playing and the world building and the combat that is actually very good, there's like dungeon crawling in this game. It's a really really good game. I love all 3 of these.
Yeah, so actually this is from videogameschronicle.com. This
the date on
article came out February 24th of this year.
Oh wow.
Speaking on his premium Giant Bomb show, Grub Snacks, Jeff Grubb claimed that original developer Obsidian could create a sequel to the classic RPG, now that it's under the same roof as license holder Bethesda. This is very early, but people have begun to have talks and say these words in sentences, and these words are Obsidian and New Vegas 2.
Cool.
we're talking years and years away, but
Yeah, of
there's at
course.
least interest in
Of course.
making it. So
Yeah, I mean that was one of the things when the merger happened that people were like, "Oh, Obsidian's back with Bethesda. Maybe that could happen." I would love a New Vegas too. There's so much potential there. The way the game ends is amazing, but there's plenty left to explore in that world. So yeah, New Vegas sequel would be great.
yeah, super cool. So my number 9, and you probably are gonna say this doesn't even belong on the list. Goat Simulator.
So that it's hard, right? Because
So let me clarify real quick. This is a top 10 must play games. This isn't a top 10 best games.
All right.
You know, like that's kind of how I did it. And Goat Simulator is a must play. This game is so much fun.
I think this game is stupid, and I spent at least 15 hours just of stupid fun, of late nights, and the things that you can do in this game, and
they're so ridiculous.
the mechanics are bad, but it's because of how bad they are, and the things that they ask you to do that you're just like, I could do that.
Right.
I really want to try to get my goat up on top of this jet plane. Like,
yeah,
the weird crap that happens in this game is so much fun, and it is hilarious.
This is a great game.
If you're on a late night sugar high,
for sure. But if you've got a friend over and they've never heard of it, just log them into this game,
explain nothing.
and don't explain anything, and just let them play, and they will be so confused, but they'll be hooked.
And once you get over how frustrating the controls are, that actually becomes a feature.
You can put so much time into this game, and there's multiple maps,
and
too,
the achievements
and
are just so worth trying to get.
There's a zombies mode in this game. And it's just
I didn't care much about all that other stuff.
It's totally worth playing. I think it for sure. It's on Game Pass. Yeah, you know, if this was a $25 game, I probably would have not talked about it. But the fact that it comes with Game Pass, it's a for sure must play game.
Yeah, it's very fun. Okay, next I cheated. I put 2 games on number 8. Again, I have like 40 games on this list, so give me a break. But I have A Way Out.
Higher.
Oh, okay. And then It Takes Two.
You can talk about that one.
It Takes Two is everything that was good about A Way Out with way more good stuff. It's a 2-player game that it's like a 3D platformer sort of game. But there's like so many mini games, and this game is about the mini games. Every mini game they do in this game is the best version of that mini game I think I've ever played. And there's like hundreds of them.
Wow.
Like every level there's just little other things that you can do, and they're so much fun. And the competition that ensues is a blast. This is a great, if you have another person to play this with, it is worth it. It's good for brothers and little sisters. It's good for couples. It's good for buddies. It's a great game. It is so much fun. I don't see how in a long shot out of everything that was released last year, I got Game of the Year. That doesn't make any sense to me, but it's very, very good. And coming from A Way Out to this is a huge jump, but A Way Out is also great.
And we'll talk about that one in a little bit. But so we'll move to my number 8. I have Limbo.
Oh wow, I had that way lower.
I love this game. It's
Limbo's
really
great.
fun.
Yeah,
it's
really fun.
a 2D. I don't know, what would you call it?
It's a puzzle platformer.
Puzzle platform. Okay, yeah, that sounds about right. It's very creepy. I don't know if I would call it scary, but it's creepy.
Some parts are scary.
Sure, yeah, but it's not a horror game. I wouldn't define it as that. You know, it's not like Layers of Fear or Outlast or anything.
No,
like
but
that,
it is like what's the Fear game called? The 2D puzzle platformer that we played.
I'm not
like
sure.
Little Nightmares.
Oh, Little Nightmares. Yeah. Sure.
Little Nightmares 1 and 2. I think it's the same developer.
Okay, so yeah,
actually.
I feel like that. Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I think so.
Huh.
Limbo and Inside, but maybe they're not.
So Little Nightmares definitely seems like it took inspiration from Limbo.
Yeah, for sure.
I really enjoy Limbo. I think
Limbo's
great.
great.
It's a lot of fun. And And yeah, I mean it's
I
totally,
love the color
worth
palette
playing.
too. It's
Yep.
black and white always, and then sometimes red, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
But
Um.
and it's challenging.
It,
The puzzles are good.
yeah. No, the
Like,
puzzles are great. I love puzzle games. I love Zelda. I love Mario puzzles. I love everything with puzzles. So, the puzzles in this game are really good. Some of them are really frustrating. And kind of dumb, but for the most part, they're really good. And it's just interesting what's going on. Because it drops you
Right.
in without telling you anything.
Yeah.
And you're kind of, every time something happens, you're like, what was that? What's going on? Like, it's very intriguing, you know?
Right.
So yeah, Limbo's awesome. And then so is it my 7 now?
Yes.
I put A Plague Tale: Innocence.
Okay. This is on my list to play.
Oh, it's good. Yeah. So it's getting a sequel, which
Okay.
make even more reason to download it and try it on Game Pass. But it's a 3D action game. It's
And now this
similar
isn't
to
a horror game, right? But there's
No.
Is there like scary
there
elements to
yeah,
it, or like
there's
scary
some-
like
there's
horror
some scary
themes
stuff.
or anything
I don't know
like
about
that? Like,
horror.
okay.
There's some gross stuff that
Sure,
happens and
okay.
some scary things. It takes place during the Black Plague, obviously.
Okay.
And it's fictional for sure. I mean,
Mhm.
the plague comes in the form of like thousands of rats that all
interesting.
kind of move as one
Okay.
big blob or something. But it's that part is creepy for sure. And you can use a torch to get through them. You know, they kind of scatter
Oh, sure.
from the light.
Mhm.
And so it's like a 3D action. It's like similar to the recent Lara Croft or Uncharted games, but the weapons are all like you've got a bow and arrow and you've got sticks and stones. You're playing a like a very fragile, very strong, courageous 14-year-old girl.
Oh, okay.
And her little brother. So you kind of control her, but the little brother is always with you, and then you use him to help you do some things. And
Sure.
you have to keep him safe. You have to keep him quiet. Sometimes you have to. It's really interesting the way that he works into the game, and how you have to stop him from crossing the road out in front of things, and you have to, get him to shut up when people are walking by. But yeah, I won't spoil the story too much, but to say that you're on the run in a time that is very not a good time to be on the run.
Sure.
You need to be somewhere safe,
Right.
and you're not. You're very out in the open.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
very vulnerable. But it's a really good game, and I'm looking forward to the sequel.
All right. My number 7, Mirror's Edge.
Oh yeah, I have that on my honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions, yeah.
Yeah.
Mirror's Edge is it's a really fun game. It's a first person like parkour platforming like type game.
Yep.
And parkour in first person is it's really interesting how it works. It's sometimes very frustrating because you can't like see like
there's some
in
kinks
third
for
person
sure.
ones when you're climbing.
Most
you
of the
can, like,
most of the
see.
time it's good.
Right, but it's frustrating in like a challenging way, not in a bad way. There are a couple
sometimes it's
ways
bad.
that are bad, that's true. But yeah, it's really fun. It's an interesting story. I really enjoyed it. I spent a good amount of time on it, and if it's the art style is really interesting. And if you haven't played it before, it's definitely worth giving it a shot.
Yeah, it's a super good first time through, but it's also really fun. It's got lots of replay value.
Yeah, well, and
trying
it's
to do things as fast as you can. And
yeah, there's a speed element to it, and then when you first start the game, everything that you like climb on or jump to or whatever, so
It's
everything is
highlighted
like
red.
white, and then everything that you are supposed to like do parkour on is red.
Yeah.
But you can shut that off.
Oh, that
and
would
it's so difficult.
that would be
But
impossible.
it's so
that's the whole
hard
mechanic of
to
the
like
game.
be able to see where to go, but it's kind of fun.
Yeah,
and then it's
maybe.
also like this is a run. You run away from the bad guys. You don't fight them.
Yeah.
But you can get weapons. So sometimes it's
No,
really
there's
fun
some combat.
to attempt to like complete a level through combat
Sure.
instead of running around the combat, which is fun. It's a really unique game. The sequel was not near as good. They tried to make it open world, and that kind of killed it.
Is that on
but
Game Pass?
It is. It Mirror's Edge Catalyst.
Okay.
It's kind of fun to play around with, but the first one is what takes the number 7 spot on my
Cool.
list.
Next, I have Hitman Trilogy.
Okay.
I just played all 3 of these in like a week, and they are so much fun. There's so many levels and so many ways in every level that you can accomplish your mission. And if you've ever watched Donkey's videos on Hitman, you know that they're just stupid fun. But oh my gosh, it's fun because they put you in a space. There's only so much level, but there's an infinite amount of ways that you can interact with what they give you. Like there's so many NPCs and there's so many ways to get to your target, and there's so many ways that you can take them down. I mean, literally any way you can kill them is a valid way to do it. But there are rewards for doing it in certain ways.
Sure.
And there's like I don't know if it's the canon way or whatever, but there's like the main ways that you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can poison their food. You can drop a chandelier on them. You can drive a truck over them.
Oh my
you
gosh.
can strangle them. You can shoot them. You can get somebody else angry at them enough to kill them. There's so much that you can do. And one of the mechanics that makes this so much fun is the amount of disguises that you can have. So you can disguise yourself as the maid, as the butler,
that's awesome.
as the construction worker, as the gardener, as one of the levels you can disguise yourself as a therapist and go in and talk to him and convince him to off himself.
Oh my gosh.
Like, there's so much. There's so much that you can do. This game is so fun. And then the third one just takes all of that and puts it up to 11.
Really?
And the places that you go and the things that you get to do are so much more interesting in Hitman 3. They're just very, very good games. And the whole trilogy is on Game Pass.
Game Pass.
The UI is terrible because it's all structured like case files and things and computer records.
okay.
And so just starting your game feels like work.
Sure.
But once you get past all of that and kind of figure out how to get through all of the dumb season pass things that don't matter anymore because you have the full game unlocked, but it's still advertised. It doesn't matter. It's really annoying, but it's a great game, super fun, and highly recommend.
And wait, that was your 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, no, 6.
Oh, that's okay. That's
Yeah,
right.
That was 6.
So my 6 is Horizon 5.
Oh, Horizon, Forza Horizon?
Yeah, Forza Horizon.
Yeah. Cool. Great game.
Yeah, I expected higher from you.
I
but
had it higher initially, but I
moved it
there's
around.
so much stuff on this.
For sure. Yeah, it's super fun. I'm not really a big racing game person, but it's a beautiful game. Just
Forza
driving
Horizon
around.
5 is the best looking game on the Series X.
Oh, absolutely.
Period.
Totally. And just driving around is really, really fun. Just seeing the beautiful environments. Doing like the time trial stuff they
biomes
have
in this
is
game
enjoyable.
or the environments at sunset, at sunrise, during the day, all throughout, they're just so gorgeous. There's jungles, there's volcanoes, there's plains, there's desert, there's like swamps, there's cities. This game is so pretty, and there's so many different places that seamlessly kind of transition in between one another that look just like real life. It's set in Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
and it really feels like you're driving around Mexico. Like
Totally.
it's really awesome. The cars are gorgeous. The environments are pretty, especially when you go into the photo mode and you pause and you zoom in on the reflections, the ray tracing, and just they really take advantage of all of the next gen hardware in this game,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's very apparent. There are shots of this game that look real. They look actually real. And I know that we've been saying that since GoldenEye, but this is photorealistic. Like, it's on a whole nother level. I could show you a screen capture of this game, and you would not know it was a video game.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
And it controls really well.
Also, there's so
fun.
many cool little arcade mini games that you can do.
I spent maybe
how fast you can go, and
an
the
hour
jumps you can do.
doing a jump.
Yeah,
And and I was like, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't think I can jump any further in this car, and I'll give it one more go. And then I jumped significantly further. And I was like, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
how do I replicate that?
Yeah.
And now I can go even farther. Like I
Totally.
have to be able to, you know.
Yeah.
And I spent so much time doing it. I didn't get the trophy for it, or the, you know, whatever you get in game for completing it.
Right.
The gold.
Yeah, it's like a medal or something.
Right, exactly. But yeah, no, it's a very fun game.
Yes, I very much enjoyed Forza. And then my number 5 is Stardew Valley,
Okay.
which honestly deserves to be top 3, but again, this is not. We're not ranking these. I feel like I'm going backwards almost sometimes, but Stardew Valley is so good. It's one of the prettiest pixel games I've ever played. The details on this game is beautiful. Also, it was developed by a single person, and it took him like 8 years. It took forever. But there are some really cool YouTube videos and documentaries that you can follow and that are really interesting about this. But it's essentially a farming simulator, relationship, life simulator, Sims sort of game. But there's so much more to it. There's combat in this game. There's dungeon crawling in this game. You can grow your crops and sell them every year. There's seasons. There's days. Each day you only have so many actions and so much time that you can perform. As time passes, and during certain parts of the day, there's different things you can do, and people all have their own schedules. So it feels like a real village that you're living in and being a part of. And the story is actually kind of compelling. Like if you have to look for it a little bit.
Sure.
But even just the oh man, I want to play it just talking about it. Like that doesn't happen to me very often. But genuinely talking about it, I want to I'm thinking about how I could start over and where I would put my farm and where I would grow my crops.
Yeah.
And as you progress your farm, you can progress your technology, and you get a greenhouse, and you can get sprinklers, and you stop having to do everything by hand, and then there's so much stuff for you to do that becomes a problem. And then you have to learn how to harvest more efficiently, and there's just so much cool stuff. And then I found out you can get a horse. Nobody tells you can get a horse. I was so far into this game without a horse, and it makes such a big difference. Yeah, and there's events, and oh man, it's so fun. It's like Animal Crossing, but if you don't have to play every individual real-time day.
Sure.
The days in game days are, I think, like 30 minutes or something like that. So there's a lot you can do, but if you run out of energy, you just fall asleep wherever you are.
Really?
Yeah, and if you fall asleep in a dungeon, you'll lose all your stuff.
Ooh,
yeah.
jeez.
So it's fun. There's significant risk involved eventually, and there's some really unlikely characters that you'll end up really loving, and there's some good satire elements in this game as well. It's a very solid game. I would honestly, I would give it a 10, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. Stardew Valley is incredible.
So my number 5, I have Halo Infinite. / the other Halo games, kind of. I mean, they deserve to be mentioned for sure. I just haven't really played them. So I don't like putting games.
Well,
that I
I'll
haven't
amend your
played on
list,
my
and I'll
list.
say the Halo collection.
Okay, perfect.
The
Sounds
Master
good.
Chief collection
So,
is amazing.
Halo Infinite is super fun. It's a really good shooter. It's got a good story. It's interesting. I enjoy the Far Cry style like mashup with Halo, you know.
Yeah.
The multiplayer is lacking content, but we're supposed to get some new content, and then when season 2 starts, which I think is May.
But it's
it's
very fun.
It is
What
very
is there
fun.
is very fun.
It is very fun.
It just gets old.
And if you haven't played it in a while, it's worth going back to, because they have added some content.
Okay.
Fiesta is now an official game mode that you can play.
Oh my gosh, finally.
And you know, which it's been that way for a little while now, but
yeah.
And they added Tactical Slayer, which I don't know if that was a previous
it was
game
called
mode, but it was
Headhunter or something.
okay.
like
So
that.
it's battle rifles only.
Yeah, and
no
headshots.
HUD, no anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not it's not headshots only.
No, but that's the game.
If you don't headshot, yeah. Exactly. So, that's actually really fun. So,
cool.
But yeah, I think that totally deserved the number 5 spot. So
yeah, and I'll just amend that with the Master Chief Collection. Those games are so good. I mean, it comes with 1 through Reach, and those campaigns are some of the best in video game history. They're some of the best first-person shooters ever made. Halo 1 changed everything about first-person shooters. Halo 2 improved on all of that. And Halo 3 is probably one of the best campaigns in
Well, and
in
so
video
what's
games.
interesting about the Master Chief Collection is there is some stuff that was exclusive to the PC version of the game that is in the Master Chief Collection now.
Well, at the beginning it was.
At the
Because
beginning.
they released. I think when it released, it didn't have all of the games. Like Reach got added later and stuff, and they added multiplayer online to each of Halo 1, 2, and 3 and things like that.
No, I mean Halo 1 had content that was exclusive to PC when the original Halo 1 released 20 years ago or
well,
whatever.
the original Halo 1 didn't come out on PC originally.
I think it did.
It didn't.
There is content in Halo 1 that was not there when I played Halo.
Weird. I don't know what
And
that's
and I was told it was on PC. So
I think you're making stuff up, but that's okay.
okay.
My number 4 is Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisps. We mentioned that earlier, but I'll just briefly. These are some of the best Metroidvanias in the genre, which is incredible because you've got Metroid and Castlevania. But they're first party Xbox. They're gorgeous games. The gameplay is really solid. It's as good as gameplay can get. You know, it's almost perfect. These games are 8s, 9s, maybe 10s.
Wow.
Like they're very, very good.
And they're beautiful. They look amazing.
Oh yeah, they're gorgeous. The art design is awesome. It's crazy how cute and horrifying at the same time these games can be. The combat is really, really good. It gets a lot better in the second one. They add some stuff in the second one that I'm not a huge fan of. They kind of double down on the story elements and the characters and their backstories, which I don't. That's not why I played Ori. Maybe some people are into that, but overall, the gameplay of these two games is solid. I think if you enjoy games that have a bit of a challenge to them, you'll really enjoy Ori. Both of those games. So what do you have for 3?
Absolutely. Well, my 4. Because you went first.
Yeah,
this time,
right.
Is A Way Out.
Oh yeah, Way Out's awesome. We played that while you were house sitting.
Yeah, we played a little bit of it.
Yeah,
I played and beat the game with Daniel.
Oh,
I've told you this before, but I think
I don't
you
remember
blocked
that.
it out. Yeah.
No.
So I played and beat it. It's a very fun game.
We got like 3 or 4 hours into it,
Yeah.
and then he bailed on me and played it with our cousin.
Yeah.
That's so lame.
So it was really good. But one of the most fun things to do in this game
dropped in my
is
list
to just
significantly.
screw around on the map. You know, like
Totally.
like in the prison, you know, where you can act
Just
like
hammer
you're
nails
like
for-
building stuff,
Yeah.
you know, and to just like ignore the
Well, I
person
think
you're
you
playing
do
with.
build stuff, but
And you're just like hammering nails, and
Yeah.
somebody's like, "Hey, can you come open the door?" And you're just like,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Dude, come open the door." And you're like, or like when you finally escape the prison and you're like running from the cops, and
Yeah.
there's a section where you're sliding and like you jump, and then your partner has to catch you, and
Oh.
sometimes. Like I just
You
wouldn't
would just not
catch them,
Nice.
and they're like, "Oh my gosh, will you please just catch me?" Like it's super fun.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth playing.
They're
but-
fun teamwork games. You can't play it without co-op. It's only co-op,
right?
and it's a very cooperative experience. I don't know what else to say. You
For
cannot
sure.
finish it unless you're working together. And sometimes that's frustrating, but sometimes it's really satisfying. So
Totally.
I'm never gonna play that game again. So
What's your number 3?
whatever. Number 3 I have, again, could be number 1, but it's the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, which is
is that on Game
remaster.
Pass?
Yep, sure is.
I didn't know the legendary.
They added it like January.
Really?
or December.
That's what I've been waiting for to play Mass Effect.
Yeah.
It was on my list. I was gonna play it, and then they announced the remaster.
Right.
And then I was
You're-
like, oh well, now
well,
I'm just gonna wait
exactly,
for the remaster, and
yeah.
I've been waiting for it to pop up on Game
Which
Pass.
is good because I almost bought this game last year.
Yeah.
And actually I did buy it from a sketchy website, and then I got my money back
Oh,
because they never sent me the
that's
code.
good.
Yeah. I got it for $20 when it was a $60 game, so I probably should have known. It wasn't a good idea. But yeah, these games are amazing. They've remastered the first one in such a way that it is more of a remake than a remaster. They changed the way the combat works in a very good way. They made it way more similar to the other games. they got rid of a lot of the clunky stuff in the first one
Nice.
that they streamlined out in
That's
2
what
and
I'm
3
hoping
anyways.
for in the Coda remake.
I hope for way more in the Coda remake. If the Coda remake is like this, I'll be disappointed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
For Mass Effect though, because these are all newer than Coda by years, this is great. For Mass Effect, this is exactly what they should have done.
Good.
Coda, I want a brand new everything. You know,
Right,
I want
sure.
new assets. I want new voices. I want new
Sure.
everything. But for Mass Effect, this is perfect, especially because Mass Effect 3 is really not that old. Well, it's probably like 10 years old now, which is crazy. But anyways, it's a good update. Especially now that they have another Mass Effect on the way, which is a sequel to 3. So
right.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 3, I have Minecraft.
Well, yeah, Minecraft's
Like
amazing.
I initially put this at 1.
What is there even to say?
And it's and I was like, okay, well, it's not 1. I would rather play my next 2 games over Minecraft, but Minecraft has to go on the list.
I think
I've
the
put
chances of you
hundreds of
listening to
hours
this
into
podcast
Minecraft.
and not having played Minecraft
Or 0.
it's got to be close.
It's very close. Like Minecraft
I
is.
mean, our mom does listen to the podcast,
That's true.
but even mom might have played it. So you don't think so? I'm just saying it's possible. There was a Java version at one point.
But I mean, I remember playing this game when it was a free to play, creative only, and there was 8 blocks in the game.
Yeah.
And it was great back then.
Yep.
And everything that personally, I think they added a little too much to it.
Everything they add makes it better. I love Minecraft the way it is
I
now.
agree with you.
Just
It's
as much as I did.
It's been harder for me to get back into like survival mode. Because
I never played survival mode.
Yeah,
so.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like because survival mode, it feels like it's just like it's so overwhelming. Like I no longer know how to play the game. You know, so it's like. But man, I've spent so much time in creative mode. I've built so many castles. I have not finished so many castles.
Exactly.
I have built and completed so many castles.
Oh wow.
I built a fish tank one time. Do you remember that, Kirk? So
yep,
we were me, you, and Daniel, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were all playing Minecraft. That we were building
for like 6 hours.
Yeah, we were so far into our creative mode.
Man.
We had built this gigantic castle with 4 or 5 levels, and we built a town outside. And I was like, I'm gonna put a fish tank inside. And
the biggest fish
it was
tank
it was a huge fish tank, but it was awesome.
ever made.
It was super cool.
It was big enough for like 6 whales.
1 or 2 mini fish.
He spawned in like not even joking, like 2,000 fish.
And I crashed the game.
He crashed the game. We lost
and
at least 4 hours of
autosave
project.
was a long
goodness
time ago.
Dude,
so
I've never been so disappointed.
that ruined that day.
That's one of the worst lost progress stories I've ever had. I've lost like 30 hours in Breath of the Wild, and this is up there with that.
Yeah, it was pretty frustrating. But yeah, Minecraft, great game.
Mine crash.
Nice.
Stupid.
We had even built mine tunnels.
Yes.
With rails.
This was
going.
one of
Kirk built this like gigantic tree house and stuff, and we lost so much.
This
progress,
was the most involved
progress.
shared server I have ever worked on, and Luke just destroyed it. That's what you get for playing
1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish,
split screen
yellow
co-op.
fish, green fish, big fish, little fish.
Are you done?
No. Yeah. What's your number 2?
Number 2 is Hellblade: Senua's Saga.
Really?
Yeah. Again, this list is not in order.
Clearly.
It's a great. Well, it's not. It doesn't not deserve to be number 2.
Sure.
But Hellblade's very, very good. If you play this, if I will tell you this, Luke, if you play this game with headphones, you have never nor will ever experience something like this ever again. This is one of the most unique gaming experiences.
Yeah, I definitely want to play it.
I've ever
played.
It may as well be a Souls game. Like
Wow.
the combat is very, very hard. And if you die in this game, you die in real life. No, that's not true. If you die in the game, it deletes your save file.
Oh. I don't want to play this game.
I'm telling you, it's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's worth it.
Maybe. We'll see.
Just just trust me, it's worth it.
Okay.
The puzzles in this game are really neat. They're perspective puzzles.
Can I turn on God mode?
No.
Oh.
Can I talk about the game?
Yeah.
Okay. The puzzles in this game are perspective puzzles. So there'll be like a shape that you need to recreate, but with the environment.
Okay.
So you use like you move around and
Sure.
and kind of move until the tree lines up with the mountain just right, so it looks like this square or whatever. So those are really neat. So the thing with this character is that she's kind of crazy. She's going insane, literally, and there are like 6 or 7 versions of her inside of her head that all talk to you.
Interesting.
And they'll say like, "Watch out, behind you,"
Hmm.
you know, and they'll whisper things like, "You're not good enough," and they'll whisper, you know, like, "Keep going," and they'll, "Stop here," and you know, "You're gonna die, you can make it." Like, and it's crazy because of the stereo, the surround sound, it comes from the front or behind you or to the right, and sometimes they're really useful. Like it'll tell you if somebody's sneaking up on you, it'll behind you, you know. But most of the time it's whispers. Sometimes it screams. It's really really cool. It's a super fun game.
Yeah, sounds interesting.
I'll tell you that most people hear that you die and it gets rid of your save file and decide not to play it, and I think that's the wrong decision. I think you should at least play until you lose your first save file.
Sure.
And then if that's it, then fine. But
fair enough.
Great game. Also, the sequel is coming at some point. It was announced with the Series X.
Right.
It should
the sequel looks really cool.
It should be coming next year.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, that game looks incredible. Visually.
My number 2, I have the Fable franchise.
Oh yeah, Fable's amazing.
So now
the only reason I didn't put Fable on my list is because I knew it was on yours.
Let me rank these real quick. Fable 2, Fable 3, Fable 1. Strictly hold up. Let me finish. Strictly based off of gameplay. I've tried to go back to Fable 1 and play it, and it's so clunky. It's so good though. Story-wise, Fable 2, Fable 1, Fable 3. But it is good, but it's just like okay. And let me talk about this. Let me talk about this for a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I played. Man. So Fable 3 gets a lot of hate.
Yeah.
I think it gets way too much hate. But let me clarify. Fable 3 was my first Fable game.
Oh,
so
well, that's why.
I played them in the order of Fable 3, Fable 2, Fable 1. I
played Fable at Chris Setty's house.
Yeah, I remember that. So I played them backwards. Now it was actually really interesting to do it that way. No, listen. So it kind of felt like Star Wars in the way that I was what? I still got all the cool story elements.
Okay.
And I still didn't know playing them that way doesn't give you any massive spoilers or anything.
No.
But I was like going backwards in the world,
and
which was really interesting.
3's like unrelated to the first two.
It's related. It's far apart, but it's definitely related.
So, in the same way that Phantom Menace is related to
spoiler
Force
alert,
Awakens, right?
Spoiler alert. The guide in Fable 3 is your sister in Fable 1.
The guide?
Yeah. So you know, like when you like level up and you go to that place and you can open chests with your seals, and she's the guide, she's your sister in Fable 1.
But it doesn't matter really.
But it was cool to see it that way.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like, so when you play Fable 1 and then you get to Fable 3, you're like, oh, that's cool, that's so and so. But when I go Fable 3 to Fable 1, I was like, oh, this is like the origin story of this.
That's actually surprising that you were able to connect those dots in that order.
Yeah, it was really so Fable 3 when I played it was a unique game that didn't have
Fable
greatness 3, of 1 and 2 weighing it down. You know, and like holding it back. So that's why I say I think it gets too much hate, because after playing 2 and 1, I realize how great the Fable franchise was.
Yeah.
And I do see the drawbacks of Fable 3, but people talk about Fable 3 like it's the worst game ever
No,
made
that's
kind of
true.
thing. And it's not. Like,
But
a lot of people
I
don't
guess-
like the menu, because when you pause, you go back to like the sanctuary and you run around in the pause menu. I had never played anything even
I like
similar
that
like
menu.
that before.
I like that
I
a lot,
really
yeah.
enjoyed that. I liked that.
I also like the butler and the story. I think Fable
same.
3 is good. The thing you have to remember with those games in general is that every single one of them was a disappointment because of the things that the developer was promising.
Oh, interesting.
He was saying this would be the Oculus, basically. Or I mean, the Oasis. Like, you would go in and you would make a character and you would have no way to distinguish it from real life. And it would be, you know, the characters would be so immersive, and, you know, you would be able to romance any character and have relationships with any character and have enemies with any character. And you would everybody would remember you. And, you know, like every step you took, even if you walked through the grass a million times, would form a trail eventually. And like all kinds of just bullcrap.
right,
like
for
that
sure.
would never happen.
Yeah. I'm so excited for the next Fable. I am so excited for it.
I think so
I
too,
will
especially
I will
'cause
buy
I
that
don't-
game.
I don't think that guy's involved.
I will buy that game day one, and I will play that game. I'm so excited for it.
I bet Lionhead's not even involved though. It's like a brand new.
I don't care. I'm excited for it. I want to play it,
You've
and
seen like a
I'm gonna be.
cinematic trailer.
Yeah, I don't care. It's
Yeah,
Fable.
all
Like, I love the Fable.
Well,
games.
2025
So,
probably.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Same with
but-
Perfect Dark.
All right, what's your number one? Oh, wait, hold up. Before we get to number one, let's do a quick fire of honorable mentions.
I thought we were gonna do those after.
So
but that's
you
fine.
shoot one, and you'll do one, and then I'll do one.
I have too many.
Okay, well,
First is Firewatch. It's beautiful and it's a walking simulator, but it's better than you think.
okay. I have Skyrim.
It's Skyrim.
Do you-
What else do you need to say? Greatest game
Oh,
ever.
I see what you're saying. I thought you were yep, Skyrim. I
Sorry.
didn't. The only reason I didn't put it in my 10 is because I think everyone has played it. Now I did put Minecraft on there because I think Minecraft deserves that spot a little more than Skyrim does.
Totally.
I think Skyrim is a little overrated strictly because of mods.
Yeah. Next I have Hades. It's like Diablo, and it's really fun. It's a roguelike, and it incorporates the roguelike elements into the story. It's amazing. You should play it.
Flight Simulator.
Yeah, Flight Simulator is a game with flying planes.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
really fun. Injustice 2, Mortal Kombat, but the DC universe.
I put Overcooked 2. Now it's possible this could have made my top 10, but so this is a game that I haven't played. However, I have played Overcooked 1. I loved Overcooked 1, and I've heard Overcooked 2 is just an overall improvement on 1. So I
Nice.
figured it was an honorable mention. It's a great party game. It's up to 4 players. It's total chaos,
Great.
but it's so much fun.
Speaking of chaos and 4 players, I have Gang Beasts.
Oh my gosh,
The
I didn't
controls.
I missed
The
that.
controls in this game don't make any sense, and it's so much fun, and it's just utter chaos. It's a great.
Absolutely.
It's super fun. It's like a brawler game.
I have Project Wingman.
I've never heard of.
Never
that.
heard of it. So it is a dogfighting game,
Okay.
but it's like story driven, single player. There might be a multiplayer, but I haven't played multiplayer.
Huh.
It's modern. I mean, at least the jets you're flying, I think it actually takes place in the future, but it's like modern jets. It's actually pretty fun. The story was incredibly confusing. I don't know if that's because I've never played any of the other Project Wingman games, but the gameplay is like, I don't know. It was a little rough, but that could have just been because, again, I hadn't played the game, so I was like learning a new system that they may assume that you know.
Yeah.
But this was actually one of the games that I was playing, and I was like weeks later, I was like, oh yeah, I'll go back to this, and then I loaded it through Quick Resume,
Yeah.
and was right back in the
that's so
middle of
cool.
my dogfight. So
That's super
yeah, that probably gave it an extra like
Yeah,
bonus, you know,
totally.
but yeah, no, it's fun game, worthy of a shout out.
Cool. Then I have Battlefront 2, Star Wars. It's fun. It's Star Wars. The sound design in this game is amazing. You feel like a stormtrooper or a rebel or whatever you're doing. The hero characters are fine. It could use some work. It's not the best game ever,
I've
but
heard BB-8 is the most powerful hero character.
he is in a stupid. It doesn't make any sense. It's also been a while since I played, so they might have patched that. But
That's amazing. I have 12 minutes.
that's the same one I have next.
Really?
Yeah.
So I have not beat the game. I think I'm at 6 minutes. But
That's not how it
like
works.
halfway through the game.
By the way,
You know, but it's very fun. It's a like top-down puzzle game, story game, time travel
yeah,
mechanics.
I wouldn't say
It's-
anything else.
Okay, I won't.
It's
Yeah.
great. It's a time loop. You play
Right.
the same 12 minutes over and over.
Right.
And they're actual literal.
Oh,
12
so maybe
minutes.
I'm like 48 minutes into
Stop. Is that it?
That's all. That's it for my
Okay, next
honorable
I have
mentions.
Superliminal, which is a perspective-based puzzle game, which is really cool. Sunset Overdrive, which is from Insomniac, who made Spider-Man. And you can definitely tell that this is the game that preceded Spider-Man. It's really fun, like the attitude and the art design is really cool. Subnautica 1 and 2, which I haven't played, but I'm going to, and I'm very excited, but I know they're really good. They're like, it's like No Man's Sky, Minecraft underwater, but with realistic visuals. Psychonauts 1 and 2, which are 3D platformers that are absolutely incredible and super Xbox style, just amazing game. Outer Wilds, which is another time loop game, which is pretty much all you need to know about it. Then I have Minecraft, Halo Infinite, Super Hot, Mind Control Delete.
Super Hot is so much fun. This game would have gone on my top 10 if I
it was
did
in
not
VR.
fully believe you should play this game in VR.
But it's Mind Control Delete. It's not Super Hot. It's the sequel. It's like 1.5. It's like DLC. But they have no
But
plan.
I played
no,
the same
listen,
levels.
Listen, it's also that. It's all of it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Anyways, there's content in this game you can't get in the
that you
VR
can't get in
version.
VR. Okay.
And they have no plans to make it in VR. So I think you should play it in
that's
VR
unfortunate.
and then play this.
Right.
Also Sea of Thieves, which is super popular. It's a pirate
Mhm.
game. It's super fun because each person plays a different member of the crew, and it's awesome. Then I have Shredders, which is the new snowboarding game. It's a fun snowboarding game. That's all you need to say. Tunic just came out. I haven't played it. It's Link to the Past, but with a fox. I'm very excited, and I'm going to play it probably this week. Try to beat it before Kirby. Grim Fandango. It's a really cool, classic, remastered game, and it's just amazing. You should play Grim Fandango. Katamari Damacy Reroll. It's a game where you start as a little thing, and you roll, and you pick up more things, and you keep rolling, and you pick up more things, and then you pick up
That's
the whole
awesome.
world, and it's just incredible. It's so much fun. Then I put Limbo and Mirror's Edge, and then Mortal Shell, which is Mortal Shell Enhanced Edition, I think it's called. It's another Souls type game, but there are some really distinct differences that I think are really interesting. So yeah, I had to blow through those really quick because I have like 40 games
For
on
sure.
this list.
So
but-
you're number 1.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
You loved this game.
I love this game. I think this is like a solid 8.5 to 9. It's a really, really good game. It is just as good of a characterization of these people as James Gunn's Guardian of the Galaxy, which I think sounds unbelievable to people until you play this. They're very good. They're really fleshed out. And when you bring all of your knowledge of those characters from the movies, it really enhances your gameplay experience with here. You play as Star-Lord, and it's like a 3D action game. You fly around on your jet boots, and you shoot your guns, and you have 4 different special abilities that you learn over time. But the Guardians all have 4 special abilities as well that you can control by saying, Gamora, go do this.
Sure.
Groot, go, you can get Rocket to blow stuff up. You can get Groot to lift enemies. And they also all work in the platforming, the normal progression of the game. You can get Gamora to cut things that are in the way, or Drax to lift a big rock and move it, and things like that. And it's all about your relationships in this game. So what you do with your party members really influences how they act, which is cool. And the combat relies on them a lot too. It's not a very difficult game. you can kind of just button mash your way through it. I think that there are harder difficulties though. So if you've played games like this before, I definitely recommend playing it on hard. I think that's what I did. And it still wasn't that hard, but it's really fun to kind of manage your team.
Sure.
And the soundtrack in this game is mind-blowing.
Yeah?
Like, they have some really good, tons of 80s and 90s hits.
Nice.
Tons of Star-Lord music. They wrote an album, Star-Lord, for this.
Oh, wow.
It's like it's where he got his name. It's from an Earth band that calls themselves Star-Lord, but the songs are really good. The way they track it to the cutscenes and everything. And you can play the music while you play the game, which is really fun. So, great game.
Very cool. So my number 1, the Dragon Age franchise.
Dragon Age.
How could it not have been?
This game, you love Dragon Age. You played the first game 5 times?
Something like that.
That's
I've played
dumb.
it. I've played it a bunch. Well, because
crazy.
I played, and then I've started it even more than that because I was trying to get all of the achievements for it.
Wow.
And I'm actually really close. I will get all of the achievements for it. I was on just a grind where I was getting all the achievements for the first game.
Yeah.
And then one achievement is across all playthroughs, experience all endings.
Oh.
There are 4 or 5 different endings to this game.
Oh my goodness.
So I did it. I completed it,
And you didn't get
and
the
I
achievement.
didn't get the achievement.
That sucks.
And I was
Oh,
so upset.
It's such a bummer when
And
achievements
I
are
only
bugged.
needed 4 or 5 more
Did you look it up,
achievements.
like why that happens?
Yeah, I looked it up. It's bugged. It just doesn't like.
You just can't get it.
Yep, can't get it. And I was
that's
I ended up not doing it. And then
Wait, so no one can get it, or you can't get it anymore?
Well, let me
Like,
finish. Let
okay.
me finish.
All right,
So and then I was convincing Daniel to play this game, and he was gonna play through it before he went to college. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. But no, we started it, but he didn't get very far into it.
Yeah.
But I loaded it up, and it loaded into my save, and the achievement popped up.
Oh,
And
yeah,
I
you
got it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got the achievement. I was so stoked. And Daniel was like, what's going on?
It's just
And
an
I
achievement,
I
bro.
explained it to him, and
Yeah.
I was like, no, like this is like,
That's
I spent
awesome.
so many, so I will go back and finish the achievements for this game.
Yeah.
You get all of the DLC with Game Pass for,
Cool. That's cool.
oh, maybe that's not true. I want to say it's true for the first one. I don't think it's true for
For the
Dragon
second.
Age 2 or Inquisition.
Okay.
I could be wrong about that. So
Yeah,
no,
these
I
are great
actually
games.
I don't think you get it for Dragon Age 2. You need to replay these games and play through them.
I don't know about
You-
replay all 3 of them,
You
but
no, you do. So
I played the first one,
the story
and I really
in this
liked
game
it, and I
is-
finished
The
it.
story in this game is amazing. Fantasy worlds.
I think I finished the second one also, and I played Inquisition for like 15 minutes, and I was done. It just became an Ubisoft game, like, and I just wasn't interested.
Yeah, I haven't played a lot of Ubisoft games, so I think that but I had the same experience. I had trouble getting into it because it's so much like more open than the other one is. At least it feels that way. It's not as open as I initially thought it was.
Yeah.
There's still areas that you go to and stuff. The areas are just a lot bigger.
Right.
And I was bugged where I would was my save file it auto saved right before I was fighting a dragon at level 2.
Yep.
And I just kept dying and couldn't get
Yep.
away from the thing, so I just quit playing it. But I finally went back to it. Inquisition is great. It's a very good game. Story wise,
And they're hard at work on 4.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm so excited for 4. 4 is another one. I will have this game day 1, and I will do nothing except
And
play this game.
apparently it's going to be set
then once
in a much higher fantasy.
Yeah, well, it'll be in Tevinter, which is
What?
so Tevinter. The Tevinter Imperium is
it's
where
like more Magic the
mages.
Gathering type.
No, so Tevinter. So magic in this world is frowned upon in Ferelden, basically, and Ferelden in Orlais. So magic. So if you have magic, basically,
Yeah, you're a bad person.
you're taken away and you're locked in the circle tower.
Right.
And sometimes
Like a
you'll
cult.
go out and help, and then if you hide, the Templars will come. They'll hunt you down and kill
Right.
you. Tevinter is another continent far away from Orlais and Ferelden, where magic is not illegal, and all of the politicians are all magic users.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
very corrupt. It's
Oh.
slavery is legal.
Oh, wow.
Like it is a very corrupt,
No wonder
awful
they outlawed
place.
magic.
Yeah, and so like I am very curious to see
Huh.
it.
That would be cool.
I was very excited
But
when
isn't
we
it
saw
more
Olay.
like advanced, like technologically?
Well, it's more
steampunk?
magical. So I'm not, but we
So,
don't
yeah,
we don't
not
know much about
definitely.
it, you know,
Yeah,
like.
totally.
But
I
I'm
just
very,
think of like
very excited.
Aether
Like
Revolt.
Ravnica.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of. I did see a picture of what I believe is Tvinter, and it gave me some Ravnica vibes. Like,
Cool.
but yeah,
That's
I'm
cool.
so excited for Dragon Age 4.
Sweet.
But yeah, I mean that's gonna wrap up our Game Pass list. Let us know what you think. Drop your top 10 in the comments, and we've got a new segment for you. Kirk, you want to introduce this?
Yeah, so I definitely stole this from another podcast. If you listen to the Kit and Krista podcast, they're new just like us.
Thanks for the
So,
idea.
it's not stealing because we'll give it back eventually. We're just borrowing it for now, and they can still have it. So if it's sharing, it's more like sharing, I think.
We took inspiration.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Of course. Yeah. Thank you, Kit and Krista. We're gonna do this new segment called, and we came up with the name for this.
eShop?
Luke came up for the name with this. eShop, iShop, uShop. Right? This is pretty good. So this week, what we did is we looked through the eShop and we found games that are $1. And I picked out a game for Luke. Luke picked out a game for me, knowing each other's interests and kind of trying to find something, one, we haven't heard of, and two, that we will really like. And three is only $1. So he's going to play his game. I'm going to play my game. We'll review them, and we'll come back next week and let you know what we thought.
Yep.
So for you, Luke, I have chosen a game that is called Unlock the King. Where's my mouse? It's called Unlock the King. So let's watch the trailer for it. Does it have sound? Oh, that's because we have headphones for my sound. Oh well, you're gonna have to deal with it with no sound.
Sounds good.
So this is paused. So I'll just talk over the footage here. This is a puzzle game where the pieces move like chess pieces.
Oh, okay.
And you have to know how to move the chess pieces in order to get the king to where he needs to go. The king, once the king can get there, he'll just move there really quick.
Sure.
But he can still only move like a king. So one space at a time. So you got to move the pawns out of the way, and the rooks and the bishops and the queens and everything to get the king to where he goes at the end. And I mean, Luke loves chess. So I think with your knowledge of chess combined with the puzzle element of this game, this could be a really interesting.
For sure. Yeah.
For $1, it seems like a really cool game.
It looks interesting. Yeah, cool. I'm excited.
Available now, $1 at the eShop.
I'll for sure have to give that a shot. So
yeah. So let me know what you think of it.
Absolutely.
Let everybody else know what you think of it. Make sure to play it. Like, give it a good.
Oh, totally. I'll absolutely play this. So
especially based on the style of game it is, you can totally just pick it up whenever. So great game for the Switch.
For you, I picked Valentina. Have you heard of this game?
I have not.
Okay, good. I'm so glad.
It gives me Stardew Valley vibes.
It's not. Nope, not Stardew Valley. This is like let me read the description.
Okay.
Valentina is a Brazilian indie game set in an enchanted kingdom where Valentina, the player's character, with her bow and arrows, faces monsters and surreal beings to save her kingdom and friends. Scroll down a little. It features 40 handcrafted levels, special unlockable levels for the best explorers, and you can take control of Valentina in this classic platformer adventure, overcoming enemies with your arrow. It's easy to play, hard to master, it says.
Sweet.
Go ahead and give this trailer a watch.
Okay. So my goal is going to be to 100% this before we come back next week.
Okay.
No problem. How's this trailer going to be without sound?
Not super good, but
Sure, right.
I think it looks really good.
The art style is cool.
Now one of the things I was reading about
like
it compared it similar to Zelda, which
this is a side scroller, so
Yeah, I don't so like I don't really see that aspect of it,
Yeah.
but I mean I think it looks pretty.
Oh, it's got
It's
bosses
got
and
some
stuff.
boss fights which seem to be fairly challenging. And when you watch her jump, it looks like she like hovers for a little bit too. So it looks
Huh.
like there's some kind of there'll be some fun platforming mechanics in
Cool.
it. But I was actually really excited to find this because the original one I picked for you, they raised the price. It's not $1, so it doesn't count. I can't do it. So yeah, I'm excited for you to give this a shot. I think
Yeah,
this will
this
be
looks
something that
cool.
you really enjoy.
I don't like. It looked like the boss's health bar was flipping back and forth when he turned around. I don't think I like that.
Mm.
But other than that, this looks
Well,
like
it's a 99-cent game, so
for $1. This looks pretty awesome. So I will let you know what I think. And if I don't 100% it, it's either because I didn't want to or I didn't. I just couldn't do it. But I'm gonna try. So we'll see
all right.
if I like it.
So
I'll
yeah,
finish
and
it.
then this segment will it'll pop up periodically. We'll set a price point, and then we'll find a game. So let us know what you think about the segment.
Yeah, and play them with
you know,
us.
and
They're a buck a
yeah,
piece, so pick one
exactly.
and play through it, and share your thoughts with us on it next week, or play them both and see what we think of them, or wait until we play them,
Yeah,
and tell you if they're
see
garbage.
if they're worth playing for sure.
So other than that, I think we're just gonna talk about what we're playing this week. Luke, have you mixed it up at all, or?
oh, I have actually. So I played a
Cool.
SpongeBob game today.
Did you?
Yeah, so that SpongeBob game was called Call of Duty Black Ops 3.
You're so dumb. This is the only game
It
you
was
ever
a-
played. This is
it
part of
was-
why I wanted to do this segment.
It was
to get you out of Call of Duty.
a custom zombies map.
Yeah.
I played a few different ones actually
Mhm.
today, but it's for my YouTube channel. That's the content I'm
Yes, it was
making.
for the
You know,
YouTube
like,
channel.
but no, I've been having so much fun with custom zombies, playing all sorts of these crazy, stupid, weird maps.
Mhm.
It's kind of like reignited my love for zombies because for
Yeah.
so long I hadn't played it. I was playing Cold War, but like Cold War isn't really traditional zombies. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
it sort of is, but like it's not. This is like very nostalgic for me.
Sure.
There's different there's one of the game modes that I've been playing is a gun game mode,
Oh, that's cool.
and instead of dying when you get hit, you go back a gun,
Right.
and then you have like 80 guns to get through. So I played like
Nice.
a remastered map from Black Ops 2
Wait,
and
so is
Black
it
Ops 3
gun
with
game
Cold War
zombies?
guns. Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. So and then the instead of like a kill gets you a gun, it's
Yeah.
point based. You know,
Right,
you need
yeah.
2,000 points to
Right.
get to the next gun or whatever. And
That sounds fun.
the challenge comes from like if you get demoted too many times, rounds are still going up.
Yeah.
Like there's just no way it'll beat it.
Right.
I do wish it was a little more challenging because you don't lose any perks or anything,
Uh-huh.
and then you have like 60,000 points and nothing to spend them on because you
Yeah.
get your perks. And so I think losing perks would be good. I think that would add a challenge level to it, and then maybe only allowing a certain amount of demotions. Now I haven't like really dived into all of the different like settings in gun games, so maybe there is, but no, custom zombies is actually really fun, and there's some Mario levels, so
That's cool.
we'll for sure be
We'll have to
playing some
collab.
custom Mario zombies games.
Nice.
I actually just watched one of the YouTubers Noah J456. He just played cheap. Oh, it's a
Cheap
Mario
Cheap
Kart
Beach?
map from
Oh,
from DS
cool.
Lite. Cheap Beach, or not DS Lite, the DS Mario Kart
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
And there's a whole Easter egg on it and everything.
That's
and,
awesome.
And there's a special gun and
Cool.
And,
Well, don't tell me
so
anymore. I
it's-
wanna.
for sure,
we'll play
for
it.
sure. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. What about you?
I'm still on Elden Ring. I'm
Jeez,
getting
change it up a little.
Well, okay. It's only been 2 weeks. Give me a break. But yeah, getting into that, it's really tough, man. I just finished. I'm on Randy's quest right now, headed to take down Radahan or Radon or whatever. Beat Renala, did some Altus Plateau run around, fought a couple dragons. 2 of them ran away from me because I'm pretty intimidating. But yeah, I've been doing that. And what else? Oh yeah, the Mario Kart DLC that came out. I played that today with my buddy Chase.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. That was really fun.
Cool.
We played through all 8 of the new maps 2 or 3 times, and they're really fun. They're really good. The time trials on Ninja Hideaway are friggin' impossible.
Wow.
I did the best lap that I could have done on 200 cc's, like convinced that's the best I could do. I was behind by 8 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so
Get good.
that's not gonna happen. But I'll definitely get 3-star gold on all those.
For
sure. Got plenty of stuff to do now
Yeah,
on Mario Kart.
absolutely.
It's so crazy that we have. It's nuts, Luke, because they're adding so many maps that when you go to the maps, it's got all of the old ones. All 16
Right.
cups. Yeah, or 8 cups. I don't know. There's a bunch. But then it says hit L or R, and you hit it, and there's a whole nother set.
A whole nother
it's
set.
Just,
that's awesome. And
it's
there's gonna be what,
doubling the
like
track.
6 more, like eventually.
Well, no,
or-
that's all of them.
I
it's
see.
Just, it's just showing
some
you.
is not out yet.
Yeah, some aren't out yet.
I get it.
But the fact is,
Right. It's basically
double.
a Mario Kart game.
It
map
really is.
map wise.
And the maps are cool because you got Choco Mountain from the N64,
right.
Coconut Mall from the Wii. Some really good maps, and they're super fun. They don't have any of the anti-gravity stuff from Mario Kart 8. And some of the, I mean, well, being honest, it's not the best looking tracks we've ever had, but it's DLC, and if you have online, it's free. So I mean, I'll take these for free all day long.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. So, well, yeah, I think that's all we've got for you today. Unless you've got anything else.
Nope, that's it. So, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. If you're on Spotify, please go in. There's a section for you to leave a question. If you have any questions or comments for us, we'll absolutely read those on the podcast. YouTube comments as well. Leave a question down below, and we'll do a segment next week answering those. Other than that, you can find Luke in the description below. We'll have his YouTube channel. And
Plays at night. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok.
Yep. And then all of my stuff is also going to be down there below at player2.fm.
Letterboxd.
What?
Oh, I'm on Letterboxd too.
Oh, okay. He's everywhere. You can find him on farmersonly.com.
Nope.
And if you can't, then you'll just have to call him. His personal number is